So hi guys, welcome again to another video, and for this video I'll be summarizing the chapters 1 to 11, the summary of CCNA 1. So let's start. So first we have to point to the I have to tell you the points to remember here. By default, router can break up broadcast domain. You need VLANs in switch to break broadcast domain. So both router and switch can break up collisions domains. So routing occur in the internet layer in DoD TCP IP reference model. So PPP perform in layer 2, and the FTP belongs to application layer, and when global command that is set once and affects the entire router. LCP PPP subprotocol negotiates authentication options. So the PPP and DSL are valid one connectivity methods. So rapid spanning tree protocol, an enhancement to spanning tree protocol, is used to prevent loops. So when using the term frame, we can easily recognize it belongs to the data link layer. So when we use the term packet, we can easily recognize that it belongs to the network layer. So show version commands reveals the last method used in PowerCycle a router. The show IP interface command used to verify which interface are affected by the ACL. So both routers must use same password for CHAP2 authentication. So to check the connectivity between the host and destination, we can use both tracer and ping commands. So but the difference of these two commands is the tracer command can display a list of near side router interface in the path between the source and the destination. So the trace route command has the same function of the tracer command but used on Cisco routers only and not for the PC. When powered on, the router first checks its hardware via power on self-test, or what we call the POST. When it checks the configuration register to identify the load of iOS image from. In the output above, we learn the configuration register value is 0x2102. So the router will try to boot the system image from flash memory first. So the last known good router will try to inform you that the destination cannot be reached. So from that information, you can learn how far your packet can travel to and where is the problem is. So each interface on a router must be in a different network. So if two interfaces excuse me, are in the same network, the router will not accept it and shows error when the administrator assign it. So when no startup configuration file is found in NVRAM, the system configuration dialog will appear to us if we want to enter the initial configuration dialog or not. So for the ping command, can be used from PC to verify the connectivity between hosts that connects through a switch in the same LAN. So we have the organizational unique identifier. It is a first 24 bits of MAC address of a network devices which indicates the specific vendor for the device as assigned by the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineer Incorporated. And this identifier uniquely identifies a vendor or manufacturer or an organization. So the maximum transmission unit identifies the maximum layer 3 packet in bytes that the layer can pass onwards. Excuse me. Modern Ethernet networks built with switch and full duplex connection no longer utilize CSMA-CD, and the CSMA-CD is used for the old switches. So we have now the network layer. So the network layer is responsible for network addressing and routing through the inter-network. So if ping fails, you may have an issue with the network layer. Packets are created when the network layer adds layer 3 addresses and control information to a segment. So the transport layer divides data stream into segment and may add reliability and flow control information. So for the application layer in the OSI reference model is responsible for determining the availability of the receiving program and checking to see if enough resources exist for that information. So when upgrading the new version of iOS, we need to copy the iOS to the flash, so we have to check if the flash has enough memory or not. So also running the new iOS may require more RAM than older one. So we should check the available RAM too. If we can check both with the show version command. So when will be the devices transmit in the Ethernet network? So Ethernet network is a shared environment, so all devices have the right to access to the medium. So if more than one devices transmit stimulously, the signal collide and cannot reach the destination. If a device detects another device is sending, it will wait for the specific amount of time before attempting to transmit. When there's no traffic detected, a device will transmit its message, and when the transmission is occurring, the device continues to listen for traffic or collision on a LAN. After the message is sent, the device returns to its default listening mode. So now we have the two purpose. Does the Ethernet protocol use physical addresses? So first we have physical addresses or MAC addresses are used to identify devices at layer 2. Excuse me. To follow the communication between the different devices on the same network. So the following location can be configured as a source for the iOS image. We have the flash, the default location, the TFTP server, the room if there is no source found, and the CSU/DSU converts the digital signal from the router to lease line. A modem converts a digital signal from the router to a phone line. So the power on self-test checks the router's hardware. When the post completes successfully, the system OK LED indicators comes on. So the router checks the configuration register to identify where to load the iOS image from. A setting of 0x2102 means that the router will use information in startup config file to locate the iOS image. So if the startup config line is missing or does not have a specified location, it will check the following location for the iOS image. So the flash, the TFTP server, and the ROM. So now we have the service password encryption command. All the current and future passwords are encrypted. So this command is primarily useful for keeping an authorized individual from viewing your password in the configuration file. So to secure the virtual terminal interface, we need to configure the virtual terminal password and login process. Enter an access list and apply it to the virtual terminal interface using the access class command. So now let's discuss about the command. So the router config service password encryption commands encrypts all the plain text passwords. So for the router config, if PPP authentication chop-up command that's used to enable the CHAP authentication with PAP as fallback method on a serial interface. So the show VLAN command only displays access ports. The trunks ports are not allowed in this command. So for the show frame relay LMI, it allows you to verify the encapsulation type for a frame relay link. So the show IP OSPF database command is used to display the collection of OSPF's link state. So here are the popular modes in Cisco switch or router. We have the router, the user mode, the router hashtag, we have the privilege mode, we have the router config, we have configuration mode, we have the router config if the interface level, and the router config routing engine level, and the router config line. This is a line level within the configuration mode. So now let's discuss the 10 show commands. So one of the most important abilities of network administrator is to know how to get information out of his network devices so he can find out what's going on within the network. So in most networks, the staple of information gathering has been the show command. So here are the different types of show commands that you must know. So for the first one, we have the show version. It is a command that give uptime information about your software and hardware and a few other details. So the show IP interface brief. It is great for showing up down status of your IP interface as well as the IP address of each interface. So it's mostly used for displaying critical info about a lot interface on one easy to read page. So for the next one, we have the show interface, and that is the most popular version of command that shows detailed output of each interface. We usually want to specify a single interface or you'll have to hit the page down a lot. This command is useful because it shows traffic encounters and also detailed info about duplex and other link specific gateways. So for the next one, we have the show IP interface. It is often overlooked command. It is great for all in configuration options that are set. So it includes the switching mode, the ACLs, header compression, ICMP, redirection, accounting, NAT, policy routing, security level, and etc. So basically, this command tells you how to interface is behaving. So for the next one, we have the show IP route. So it is a excuse me, indispensable command used for routing table, which is usually the primary purpose of the box. Get to know the option of this command. So next one, we have show ARP. So can ping a neighbor? Make sure you're getting an ARP entry. For the next one, we have the show running config. This is the ACS one, so it tells how the box is configured right now. So it will also tells you how the router will be configured after the next reboot. For the next one, we have show port. So it is similar to show interface command on routers. This command gives you the status of ports to the switch. And for the next one, we have show VLAN. This command to make sure your ports are in the VLANs you think they are. Inputs are very designed. Excuse me. Show tech support. So this command is great for collecting a lot of info. It basically runs a whole bunch of other show commands and spit out dozens of pages of detailed output designed to be sent in technical support, but it is also useful for other purposes. So that's all for the brief summary of the CCNA1 from chapters 1 to 11. Thank you for watching and see you again on my next video.